We're joined on INSEAD Knowledge by Morten Hansen, Professor of Entrepreneurship at INSEAD. You've brought out a new book called Collaboration: How Leaders Avoid the Traps, Create Unity and Reap Big Results. How important is it for companies to get collaboration right?
Collaboration is fundamentally about working smarter. It is about increasing productivity. And companies have been cutting costs for a long time now. But that is not going to be enough. You've got to have lean management and work better and smarter across the units. And that's what collaboration gives you.
And you're saying that it's particularly important at this time in a recession?
Yeah, I think so. The challenge for managers is to put in place collaboration, the right kind of collaboration that gives you the results, and not just doing more collaboration. And as I say in the book, the goal of collaboration is not collaboration itself. It is better results. And that has some implication for how you do it.
But companies do look to try to break down barriers across business units, and it makes sense. However, as you point out in the book, it's the case of Sony trying to take on Apple over iTunes and the iPod, but failing miserably.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting, I start the book with that story because I got fascinated by it. Apple introduced the iPod in 2001. And Sony tried to respond to that in 2003. And if you think about Sony, Sony has all the pieces. Right? They got the music division, they got the electronics division, they got the software division, they got consumer goods. They even supply the batteries to the iPod, the original iPod. So they got one of the components. Yet when they tried to put the pieces together, so they had all the existing pieces in-house. And when they tried to put them together, they couldn't. There was no culture of collaboration in that company. In fact, it was the opposite. It was a culture of internal competition. And that works really well if each unit can work by itself and try to outdo its brothers or sisters in the company. But when they need to work together, you get the opposite. So they produced a product called Sony Connect. That was an iTunes iPod combination. And it was a miserable failure. It got terrible reviews. When Wall Street Journal say, stay away from it. And it didn't work. So they were unable to do it. And had they had effective collaboration, the results would have been very different. And you can imagine Sony coming out with a very compelling product that could have competed against the iPod, but they were unable to do so.
What are the traps then, the collaborative traps that you mentioned in the book?
My research has uncovered a number of these traps. And I think, so the one with Sony and Howard Stringer, who tried to do this before he was CEO, he was head of the US. He fell into the trap, I believe, of trying to launch an ambitious collaboration project in a fundamentally hostile organizational environment. A company set up to do the opposite. So the trap is believing you can really do it. Hoping you can do it, but in reality is that you cannot. So that's one trap. Another interesting and intriguing trap is at the other side, the other end of the continuum, which is that sometimes you see over-collaboration. That managers and leaders launching this ambitious breaking down silo project, being together, one firm's idea. And they are successful initially in the sense that people start networking a lot, collaborating a lot, traveling around in different meetings and committees and all those kinds of things. And then you look at the results and they aren't there. So they over-collaborate. So the trap is over-collaboration. And that's not good either. And then maybe one more to mention is the hoping that collaboration is going to yield great results. So you start working on projects that in reality have marginal value. And once you have done them, you realize, yes, we did it well, but look, the results weren't that great. So that's a trap of overshooting the potential.
You're not saying that all collaboration is bad. You do give advice as to how you think managers should go about it.
Right. So in the book, the thing that I'm talking about is the right kind of collaboration. And I'm making the statement that bad collaboration is worse than no collaboration. But you still have to collaborate. I mean, Sony still have to get it right. And then the idea is, how do you do it? And I offer 3 points on how you can do it. Number one is that you have to be very careful in the projects you select for how to collaborate. So select the opportunities carefully. And I offer some rules for how to do that. The second part is that you have to look at the barriers to collaboration in your particular setting. And they vary by company. So you've got to understand what barriers are at play in your particular company. And then once you have diagnosed those barriers, you can move to the third step, which is to tailor the management interventions to those barriers. To give an example, I once spoke to a manager who said that we had implemented a great knowledge management system in our company to try to reduce the barriers to collaboration, and it had zero effect. And then we start talking about the barriers, and after I presented this framework of barriers, the person said, now I understand. Our barrier wasn't a search problem, that people couldn't find the knowledge, which the KM system was a solution to. That was really our problem. We thought it was. The problem was that people were unwilling. They did not want to do it in the first place. So if you put in an IT system, that's not going to motivate people. You need a different kind of lever. So you need to tailor the lever to the barrier that you're questioning. So you got select opportunities, reduce the barriers, and tailor solutions. And the result of that is what I call disciplined collaboration, which I think is a management tool that really allow you to pinpoint where you should collaborate and how to do it.
And this book is aimed at managers.
I've taken my 15-year research, academic research, and I've translated into the managerial implications. And I also have written about 5 Harvard Business Review articles on this topic over the years, and I kind of synthesized it into this book. This is a book that offers tools, practical tools for managers and leaders to implement this in the company and distinguish between good and bad collaboration.
The book is called Collaboration. Morten Hansen, Professor of Entrepreneurship at INSEAD, thanks for joining us on INSEAD Knowledge.
Been a pleasure.